Nobody cares until you tell a story. I posted for over 3 years on one of the other platforms. I created hundreds of posts. These were long form posts as well. And this was pre-AI as well. I made zero sales, $0, no traction. And this wasn't because I wasn't working hard enough, because believe me, I was. And I was showing up. And I was forever puzzled. Why was nobody buying from me? I was looking left and right and seeing everybody making sales apart from me. Everyone's sales, everyone's businesses taking off, just mine going absolutely nowhere. I was doing affiliate marketing at the time, so it wasn't that complicated. All I needed to do is create converting posts, and that was it. Of course, I had no idea what a converting post really was. And I didn't know that I needed to share my story, or at least the right story. I was all the way through sharing the wrong story, and it showed. So I have been online for 8 years now. For the past 5 years, I've been here full-time, earning my full-time income. So eventually I figured out what I needed to say. And I want to save you months and years of heartache with this video. If you watch it from start to finish, you will know what to say in your content. And it's not platform dependent. This works for all the platforms because it is based on human psychology. It is based on what works with the other humans. And this is who we're talking to. I'm very glad that I work online. I've realized my long life dream since I've had my children, and that is to stay at home and be with them, be a stay-at-home mom. I absolutely love it. I work around their schedule, and this is a great luxury that I am absolutely grateful for. For the first 3 years, I had no traction. Nothing was happening. I was sharing my story and nobody cared. And this is what changed when I realized that when you post something, this needs to trigger an emotion with your audience. So maybe you have the same feeling that you have posted something and you think, gosh, this is really good. This is going to connect with people. And then nothing happens. I know that feeling so well. You're thinking, I'm not quite sure what is going on. Your story didn't land, and your story didn't land because it wasn't the right story. It could be a good story, but it also has to be the right story. So when I was starting working online and posting and sharing my story, I was at that time going through a very acrimonious divorce, custody battle. It was all very, very dark and dire. Financial troubles, all sorts of wrong things. And I was so embarrassed by it, so embarrassed, that online I shared my old stories from when I was an opera singer. Well, I'm still an opera singer, but when I was an active opera singer, and I would talk about lovely places that I visited, lovely places that I sang at. And it made no sense to my audience because there I was desperately trying to do affiliate marketing, yet at the same time saying I'm this successful opera singer. It just made no sense. So I finally had the funds to get a coach. I wanted to get the coach for a long time, but I couldn't. But then finally I could. I did. And they explained to me that I needed to be very honest online. Not that I was being dishonest. I was just being very embarrassed. But I had to be very honest and say my story as it was, whatever it was that I could share, of course. And I want to encourage you, of course, to share your story, but whatever it is that you are comfortable with. One day, I came out with it. I wrote down my story. I explained why I was working online. why I was trying to make this online work a success. I was also working full-time in another job. It was really hard because I was working full-time. My children were 2 at the time. I have twins. So I had 2 toddlers, full-time job, trying to work online. And it was like the floodgates had opened because I built an audience. People were reading my posts. They were just not quite sure who was this person. So once I came out with it and described why I was doing this and the situation I was in, floodgates opened and I started making sales. From that moment, I was in the position to give up my full-time job after 3 months. It took 3 years and 3 months to get this seemingly overnight success. And it just dawned on me how important it is to tell the right story if you want to make sales, if you want to connect with your audience. They didn't have the reason to trust me, and but people can feel even through the screen, people can feel when you're not 100% genuine. This is why people don't react really well to AI posts. If you don't correct your AI posts, no one's going to react to them because they're not that good. You need to pour yourself. You need to give a little bit of yourself, at least, in your posts, in your content for your audience to trust you. So let me get a little bit nerdy with you and explain the psychology behind why storytelling works. So when someone reads a list of facts, this course is going to teach you how to do this, how to do that, this is how much money you're going to make, and etc., etc. Only the language centers in your brain light up. But when they hear these facts wrapped up in a story, that is where their entire brain lights up. And this is what we want. We want their entire brain sending messages. We need this course. We need this coaching. We need whatever it is that this person is selling. Because we want our part of the brain that makes decisions to be lit up and be making decisions to get their credit card out and pay for your course. Part of the brain where that part lives is the same part of the brain where we have our emotions. So this is why it's really hard to convince someone when you're talking to someone, and let's say they are of a different, political opinion, let's say, and you can list all the facts why your side is better than theirs, and they will still just nod and go, yes, but you will not change their mind because you did not wrap it up in a story and get it to their emotional center, to where their emotions are then lit up. And perhaps you'll be able to then change their mind. So just the language part, never going to happen. So where this part lives, this is where the pull out your credit card part in your brain lives. Excuse me. So if you tell a story, it is much, much easier for people to make that decision. And it makes sense. We have evolved through listening to stories, enacting stories, learning from stories. So stories are really important. And also when you tell stories, you are creating like me moments. Your audience is thinking, oh gosh, that's exactly like me. Wow, that's exactly like me. For example, while I was explaining this first half of the video, maybe you had a kind of, oh, this is exactly like me moment where you're posting and you're getting no traction because you're not sharing the right part of the story. So stories make you feel like, oh gosh, like they really understand me. That's exactly how I feel. And really good storytellers make you feel like they're in your head. And you'll go like, this person knows me better than I know myself. And this is where the great storytelling sells with such ease that you don't need to be pushy, salesy, anything like that. You tell the right story, the sales come. People forget facts, but they remember stories. And this is why your story is your biggest tool in your marketing toolbox to be remembered, to stand out, because everything else can be copied. Everything else has already been said. We are not inventing hot water here. Everything that needs to be said has already been said in marketing, with one difference. And that is your story. That is your point of difference, your story, your filter. Your story is the only thing that people cannot copy, they cannot take away from you. Your story is your ticket to success, online, and I dare say. Also, when you tell your story, you don't need to be this finished expert. You can share your story, and wherever it is that you are in your story, you're a step ahead of your audience, and you can share that. So that's your expertise, that one step ahead. Storytelling is a wonderful tool. So today I'm going to now take you through a few things that you need to remember and implement, and you can implement this today. Also, if you'd like me to send you a Google Doc with everything that I'm saying here, let me know in the comments. Say story, and I'll happily share that with you. Your brand story has 4 elements, or 4 states. Your before state, and this is the problem you faced, that your audience is facing right now. Your turning point is number 2. What changed for you? For me, it was a decision to stop pretending and start truly being real. Although I did have, previously to that, one mindset moment that changed everything for me. I'll share that a bit later on. And I think that was really the pivotal moment for everything that had happened. And please stay for that part of this video, because I want you to find that moment, because that will be the driving engine for everything else. So number 3 is your transformation. What specific results did you get? For me, it was making my first sale, giving up my full-time job in 3 months' time, and then staying full-time online for the last 5 years. And what is your why? That's number 4. My why is, well, I always say it's my children and staying at home with my children, but I'm going to be very honest with you. That's not my number 1 reason. My number 1 reason is that I hate working from 9 to 5. I hate being an employee. I don't like working for other people. And working for other people, working for other companies puts the fear of God in me, and it gets me out of bed in the morning. It gets me recording these videos and doing my content on a Sunday afternoon when everyone's relaxing, because I know I don't want to ever go back and work for other people. So that's my number 1 why. My other number 1 why, my children. I, first of all, want to stay at home and be with them 24/7. Secondly, I want to give them an example of the fact that they can do things they love on their own terms, in their own time. I sometimes type my content and kind of write my content, write down my ideas while I'm still in bed in my pajamas. And I want to give this example to my children, that you can do your work when it suits you, not other people. That's your brand story. So now we have the tactical micro stories. This is the thing. You don't tell your whole brand story in every post. That would be simply impossible. So your micro stories are short, focused moments from your journey that highlight one lesson or one emotion, and they're easy to consume, and they're easy to remember, and they're easy to relate to. Once you understand these types, you can create infinite numbers of posts, because you will understand the structure of it. So the challenge story is this shows a specific challenge you faced, and it creates instant relatability. So, for example, I often talk about the fact that I don't have that much time, free time to work, because my children are still very young. They're only 10 and they're very active. I think there isn't a sport that we are not a part of. There isn't an activity, extracurricular activity that we are not a part of. So we're constantly going somewhere, coming from somewhere. So these are my challenges. Also, I've just shared with you my challenges in getting a coach when I first started, understanding what I needed to write and things like that. So these are my challenge stories. That's it moment. So this reveals your discovery. It builds curiosity with your audience. I'm going to share with you the story that I promised. Number 2 is the aha moment story, or as I love to call it, that's it moment. So this reveals your discovery and it builds the trust between you and your audience. This was the story that I promised you. This was a mindset shift that I had. For the first year and a half out of those 3 years when I never made any sales, I lacked the conviction that this could work for me. So I posted, but I kind of doubted that this was even for me. And of course, you can tell from a mile off, like I didn't know you could, but you could definitely tell from a mile off that I wasn't convinced. So if I'm not convinced that this was going to work for me, like why would anyone buy from me? You know, they need to be still convinced even more that this is going to work. So what happened is that I worked as a music teacher in one of our local music schools. And my son, who was 3.5 then, had a high fever. I got a message from my mom, who was looking after him, saying, "You've got to come home. He is getting worse and worse. Every 5 minutes, it's just getting worse. Please come home and you need to take him to the emergency room." So I ran to see the principal of the school to say, "I'm really sorry, I've got to leave. My child is ill," and etc. And he said, "Well, that cannot be because there's no one to replace you here. One needs to stay in the classroom and there's no one to replace you, so you cannot go home." And I was like, "What? I've got to go like now. I don't even have time to be discussing this." And he goes, "I'm really sorry, but this is not going to reflect well on you if you leave now." And I was like, "Well, whatever. I still have to go." The school was only 10 minutes from where I used to live, and I remember walking from the school, walking really fast, and crying, but not crying as in like, but crying these tears of frustration, these big, big tears, heavy tears welling up in my eyes, just kind of dropping like heavy drops of rain. I was like, how did I get here? How did I get here that I can't even get to my sick child without asking for someone's permission? Like, I was 49 at the time. I was like, I'm 49, almost 50. How did I get to this place? And I'd vowed to myself and to my children on that day that I was going to make this online thing work. Come hell or high water, I was going to make it work. I was going to work from home. I was going to look after my children when they're ill. I was never ever going to be in the position to beg to go to look after my sick child. So that was my that's it moment that made all the difference. It took another year and a half for me to make my first sale, but I don't regret it. I don't regret it. It was very challenging. It is very hard for one's ego when you are putting your content out and there is no traction. Nobody's saying yes to you. The internet was one wide space with one big no to me, or at least that's how it felt. But then I had to change things, and the storytelling changed everything for me. So I hope you can now find your own that's it moment and then use it in your content. Number 3 is the results story. And for this, yes, you share what you've achieved and it builds credibility. And I will tell you that I've earned multiple six figures and that I live a nice life with my children. But everyone thinks that it is only the monetary results that people want to hear. And I couldn't disagree more. When I was first starting, for me, just to see someone post every day was very inspirational. There was another thing. I didn't know that you could get a coach. I was so brand new here online. I had no idea about anything. So I heard these people talk about, I spoke to my coach and my coach said this. And I was like, oh, gosh, I wish I could get a coach myself. I have no idea where to get such a person, how to afford such a person. Who are these amazing people who have coaches? So I didn't ask myself, did these people make sales? Did these people do this? Did these people do that? It was unbelievably successful to me that they were getting coaching, that they were investing in themselves. So your results story does not have to be just, I don't know, I made this much money, I made that much money. I know that everyone says that, but no, it doesn't have to be that. So if you haven't made any sales, don't worry. Number 4, your mistake story. So this whole video is based on my mistake story, how I posted the wrong story for the longest time. So you share your mistakes. Share how you couldn't do something. Share how you couldn't do the other. For example, people are afraid of tech. Afraid that they won't know how to press this button, that button. And I'm afraid of tech too, but I still go and do it. When I was organizing my very first workshop, miraculously, somehow, I sold about 37 places and there were 37 people on Zoom waiting for me. This workshop I promised that this workshop was going to be 2 hours. I had no idea you had to pay for Zoom to have it longer than 40 minutes. So I was on the call and it was flashing going, the call is about to end in about 5 minutes. I was like, I need an hour and a half at least. So I had to stop the whole workshop and go, well, please excuse me while I fumble in my wallet and look for my credit card and then type in the numbers. And of course, I was so nervous and worked up and anxious. I kept pressing the wrong number. It kept getting declined. I did it eventually. But I think I made quite a few sales from that workshop right there that day. And I think it was because of that mistake. Because people could really relate to that moment. Because I'm sure they were all sitting there thinking, oh gosh, thank goodness it is not me. But good for her that she hasn't gone, oh, well, we have to finish now. I have to figure this out. We're going to reschedule. I'm just I'm going to do this. Just give me a minute or 10. So that's share your mistakes. People love to hear mistakes. Also, you can share a day in the life story. I don't do these enough. I would love to do these more, but days kind of get away from me because from 6 a.m. till midnight, there's myriad of things happening, and I should actually speak a lot more about my day in the life, but that's one of the goals for this year, and I might even record a long form video like that, a bit of a vlog, so that you can get a bit of an insight into my life, into my everyday life. So you connect these micro stories to your offers. These micro stories are not isolated stories that you just say for the sake of it, but you always connect them to your offers. And how you do that? You have bridge sentences, same as I have now been talking about storytelling, because I want to help you figure out how to connect your story and your stories with your offer. And if you don't have an offer, I want to help you create your first offer. And if you don't know how to talk about your offer, I want to help you create that content so you can talk about your offer. And if you don't know how to sell that offer, I want to help you to teach you how to sell your offer effectively and immediately. By the way, if you'd like that sort of help, you'll find the link in the descriptions to take your next steps to do any or all of these mentioned things. So you can use sentences like, if you're feeling like I felt, book a call with me. This is what changed everything for me. Then you tell the second part of the story, and then you connect it to your offer. Excuse me. Then you could say, I wish I had known sooner, so I could connect my story with not knowing that you can get a coach, that I couldn't afford the coach when I knew how to get a coach. I could say, I wish I'd known sooner that getting a coach would change everything for me, because they explained things that I needed to do. And within 3 months, my life had changed. So if you would like the same for you, click on the link in the description below this video, which is exactly what I want to tell you. So these bridges acknowledge their situation and position you as the offer in the next logical step. So you're not being pushy, you're being helpful. I love selling. I love sales because I've figured out that whenever I sell to someone, I am actually helping them. So selling is helping, but I'm going to talk about that in another video. So to apply all this, have 3 main buyer types. Emotional buyers. These people want to hear your feelings and what was the personal impact. When you're writing for them, you need to focus on the emotions of your story. How did you feel? How did that change your life? Then number 2 are the driven buyers. And these people want to know the measurable results, the specific steps of what's going to happen. So you share the practical information and what exactly did you do or will you do, and what are the results. And number 3 are social buyers. And these people want to see what other people do. And they go like, all right, so these people are buying this offer. I want to be there too. So I could tell you that I've helped hundreds of clients get their first sales online, figure out what their offer is. I could tell you that one of my current clients has just wrapped up a year where she's had over $50,000 in sales. I'm helping another client go from one niche into a completely different niche that fits her like a glove. So we are very excited, creating that new brand, a new content for her, new offer. And this could perhaps persuade you to book your call with me and have the same process. The beauty of storytelling, when you do it right, you can actually package all of these things in one post, even a short form post. If your content isn't converting right now, it is not because you're not good enough at it. It is simply because that you have chosen to tell a story that is not as impactful for your audience, or you're telling a quote-unquote wrong part of your story for the offer that you are selling. This will make you unforgettable. And this will distinguish you from all the other creators out there. And this will make your content creation so much easier. Again, if you'd like me to help you with this process, click on the link in the description. Thank you for your time and see you in the next video.